Hello and welcome to Kitco Mining with me, Paul Harris, here at the Yukon Mining Investment Conference in Dawson City in Yukon, Canada. Today we're talking about gold exploration and I have great pleasure to be joined by Simon Ridgway, President and CEO of Rackler Metals. Good afternoon, Simon.
Afternoon, Paul. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. Now, Simon, you're exploring at the Astro property. Tell us a little bit about that and tell us a little bit about Rackler Metals.
Well, Rackler Metals was founded from a Yukon exploration company about 8 years ago, looking for Carlin-style gold deposits in this Rackler belt in the Yukon Territory. We didn't have a lot of success back then, and it kind of sat as a shell in my office for a couple of years. And when I saw the discovery of Snowline Gold had made in this Tombstone belt, I was very familiar with the belt. I lived in Dawson City back in the 80s and early 90s and worked in these Tombstone Sweet Intrusives then. So when I saw the discovery Snowline had made in the eastern side of the belt, I took a look, and you know, usually when people make that kind of discovery, there's a big gold rush there. Everybody rushes in and acquires ground all around them, but for some reason Snowline didn't get that, didn't spark that gold rush. So I was able to do a lot of research and cherry pick a lot of very attractive targets on the further east of Snowline on the border between the Northwest Territories and the Yukon Territory. These prospects we have been looked at previously for base metals, and they're known to be tungsten and tin in the area. But nobody had really looked at the projects we have for gold. So except in 2017, Newmont they did a big leg survey over a very large belt right along the Northwest Territories border with the Yukon. And they identified one very strong anomaly, which they spent a couple of years on, did a lot of work on it. But they were looking for a different style of mineralization, but the data that they generated indicated that this is an intrusive hosted gold prospect. So with using that data, we've developed several very attractive targets on the Astro intrusive worth drilling.
Okay, so in terms of the sort of current exploration program this season, what are you doing and what do you aim to achieve with that?
Well, right now we're drilling on the Astro, the main target on the Astro property itself. Newmont identified a very strong gold anomaly over about 1.2 kilometers across with about 700 meter depth, and they stopped sampling right on the edge of the intrusive. That anomaly was generated, covers very thin sediments. So we're drilling that anomaly and basically hitting the intrusive that's a meter or two below the sediments, and we're cutting some very attractive looking sheeted veins. These systems usually form at the very top of the intrusive cap, as we'll call it, fractures, and the later fluids come into those cracks and can form a very attractive low grade, 1 to 2 gram or even half a gram to 2 gram attractive large gold deposits, and they usually form in these sheeted vein systems. So on the Astro, we're drilling and we are cutting those sheeted veins. We don't know if they hold gold yet. We do know we've got a very attractive gold anomaly above them. So we've seen the right signature, the right geology below that. And we have 2 or 3 other targets that are outside of that main intrusive body. We have the Serre intrusive and the Hit, which are also we're doing very early stage work on. We're prospecting. You got to keep in mind these intrusives have not been looked at for gold before. They probably haven't even been walked in before because they're very boring, grey looking intrusive rocks, and people tend to focus on the sediments all around them that become very gossinous, and very geophysical anomalies show they're very conductive. So people focus, when they're looking for base metals, they focus on the sediments around the intrusive. The intrusive rocks themselves look very barren until you start doing detailed work inside them. So that's what we're doing on these other targets right now. Just basically boots on the ground prospecting on ground that's probably not been prospected before.
Okay, and with the drilling you're doing, when do you anticipate having the drill results back?
I think that, I would estimate 6 weeks, 4 to 6, or maybe 6 to 8, depending. There's a lot of companies working in the Dawson area right now, so the labs in the Yukon are pretty busy. But I would say at 6 weeks, let's guess that. So right now we're on the 5th hole. We've just put the first 3 holes into the lab yesterday when I got to town. So we'll continue drilling and continue bringing the core in every week. There'll be a steady, slow progress of drill results.
Okay. As you mentioned, Snowline Gold has had tremendous success, both in terms of its exploration and also that's transferred into the capital markets. It's done very, very well. The fact you're hopefully in a very similar environment and perhaps have an analog to what they're exploring, are you perceiving there's a appetite for that in the capital markets? We're obviously at a very difficult time for junior explorers.
It's a difficult time, but due to my past successes, I've been able to raise the money we need to take on. It's expensive exploration. Helicopter-supported drilling the cost is way up there. So you really you've got to be looking for big targets. I mean, these aren't 500,000, 2 million ounce targets. These are multi-million ounce deposits if you find them. So that the risk reward is there, but it's expensive. So you've got to be able to make sure your targets the risk reward is there for the investor. What Snowline's market cap at the moment, I don't really know, but I would guess it's probably in the 400 million range.
640.
640 million, that's right. So, and that's come up from, at 15, 20 cent stock just 18 months ago. So that's the kind of size of target we're looking for. We've got to keep the company financed and we've got to show that we're on the track, and that's why we're drilling this early in the program.
The success Snowline's had has enabled them to sort of finance very well and even bring in, attract a major gold company in the form of B2Gold. What kind of conversations are you starting to have? What kind of interest are you starting to
We're too early stage for that at this point. I wouldn't think about talking to a major mining company at this point or a mid-size. I mean, I believe I can raise the money to keep the company drilling. And once we start to get some results, then we would think about that, I guess. I mean, we have a large property position. So if we had discovery on the Astro target itself, do you focus on that and spin out all the other targets you have and give the shareholders a second hit or a second run? I mean, like for instance with Snowline, they have a huge land position. At the moment, they're getting their value is based upon the Valley discovery. So, and they have a lot of other very prospective targets. Is it better for them to keep hold of all those assets? Are they getting any value for that other ground right now? Or is all the value based upon the discovery they've made? So as we start working on the projects, we'll decide whether we want to bring in joint venture partners on some of the other targets we have and focus all that energy on Astro, or, bit by bit, we'll make that decision as we go forward.
Okay, so the drilling results are obviously going to be a key catalyst, key milestone in the next few months. Looking a bit further ahead than 6 to 12 months, how do you anticipate the company developing and evolving?
Depends on results, 100%. I mean, we have 3 very attractive targets, the one we're drilling on. There are 2 others, the Hit and the Ser, which we've just started prospecting on, and we're seeing very attractive veining on those 2 projects also. I doubt if we're going to have 3 discoveries, but I think we have a good chance of making 1. So we'll see how things develop over the next 3 months as the results start to flow in. I mean, obviously, I think if we have success in this early stage drilling, we'll be raising more funding. When the flow through season comes in September, late August, September, we'll be looking to finance again. Hopefully, we will see the gold market continue with some strength like it is at the present time.
Fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with the drilling and look forward to hearing about the results as and when they come out in a few weeks' time. Simon Ridgway, President and CEO of Rackler Metals, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for the invite, Paul. Yeah.
And stay tuned to Kitco Mining for more from the Yukon Mining Investment Conference.